Someone with zero tech experience, no computer science degree, and no coding knowledge whatsoever just landed a 95,000 Salesforce job, and someone else with three Salesforce certifications and a computer science degree is still unemployed 6 months later. Same platform, completely opposite outcomes. In the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you the complete truth about whether you can break into Salesforce without a tech background in 2026, what the real barriers are, what the real advantages are, and exactly what you need to do to give yourself the best possible chance of success. My name is Deepika. I have been teaching Salesforce for over 10 years. I have trained complete beginners who had never worked in tech a single day in their lives and watched them build thriving careers. And I've also seen people with technical backgrounds struggle because they were missing something far more important than coding skills. Let me show you exactly what that is. Here is something I want you to know before we get into this. When people ask me if they can learn Salesforce without a tech background, and I think about one of my students who spent 15 years as a nurse before she decided to make a career change. She came to me convinced she was starting at a disadvantage. She thought everyone around her would be more qualified, more technical, more prepared. She was completely wrong. Within 18 months, she was earning more than she ever had in nursing because she had something most purely technical candidates completely lacked. She understood the healthcare industry from the inside, and that combination, industry knowledge plus Salesforce skills, made her almost impossible to compete with. Her story is not unique, and by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why. Let me start by addressing the biggest misconception people have about Salesforce. Most people assume that because it is a technology platform, you need a technology background to learn it. That assumption is wrong, and here it is why. The core of Salesforce is built on what the industry calls declarative tools. That means instead of writing code, you are clicking, dragging, and configuring. You are building automation by selecting options from menus. You are creating reports by choosing fields from a list. The most powerful tool in the entire Salesforce platform, which is Flow Builder, allows you to build incredibly sophisticated automated business processes without writing a single line of code. Here is a benchmark I use with every new student I work with. Have you ever built a relatively complex formula in Excel, something like a VLOOKUP or a nested if statement? If the answer is yes, and for most people it is, you already have the logical mindset to succeed in Salesforce. You understand conditions, you understand if this, then that logic, you understand how to break a process down into steps. That is genuinely all the technical foundation you need to get started. Now, I want to be honest with you, there is a difference between getting started and getting hired. And that gap is exactly what I want to talk about next, because this is where most people get caught off guard. Here is the shift in the Salesforce job market that changes everything for career changers in 2026. Employers are no longer just looking for someone who knows how to use Salesforce. They are looking for someone who understands their specific industry and can use Salesforce to solve that industry's specific problems. That is a fundamentally different requirement, and it completely flips the script on what counts as an advantage. If you spent 10 years in healthcare, you understand patient workflows, compliance requirements, care coordination challenges. If you layer Salesforce Health Cloud skills on top of that knowledge, you become a specialist that a purely technical candidate without your background simply cannot compete with. The same is true for banking and financial services cloud, for manufacturing and manufacturing cloud, for nonprofit work and the nonprofit success pack. Your previous career is not a gap in your resume. It is the differentiator that makes you valuable in a specific sector of the Salesforce ecosystem. And in 2026, where the market is rewarding specialists and leaving generalists behind, that differentiator is worth more than it ever has been. The strategy is simple but powerful. Identify the industry you already know, find the Salesforce cloud that serves that industry, and make that your specialization from day one, rather than trying to compete as a generic admin against people who have been doing this for years. But there is one trap I need to warn you about, and it is the one that stops more career changers in their tracks than anything else. I'm going to tell you something that might sting a little, because I would rather you hear it from me now, then discover it 6 months from now after wasting time and money. Having a Salesforce certification does not get you hired in 2026, not by itself, not anymore. Hiring managers are actively pushing back against what they call paper admins, people who have passed the exams, collected the badges, and put the certifications on their LinkedIn profile, but have never actually sat down with a real business problem and built a real solution. And the reason this matters, especially for career changers, is that the temptation when you are new is to overinvest in certifications and underinvest in hands-on experience, because certifications feel concrete and measurable. You study, you pass, you get the badge, it feels like progress. And it is progress, but it is only half the equation. The other half is proof, real, tangible, demonstrable proof that you can take a business problem and solve it inside Salesforce. And here is the good news. You do not need a job to build that proof. Salesforce gives you a completely free developer edition org that you can sign up for right now with just an email address. Build something in it, build a volunteer tracking system for a local nonprofit, build a simple CRM for a small business, build a job application tracker for yourself. Document what you built, what business problem it solved, and what decisions you made along the way. That becomes your portfolio. That is what you show a hiring manager instead of just a list of certifications. And that combination, industry knowledge, certification, and a real portfolio, is genuinely difficult to compete with. There is one more thing I need to address before I give you your action plan, and it is the piece that most beginners are completely ignoring right now. I want to be completely direct with you about this because I see too many beginners making the same mistake of thinking they can learn the fundamentals first and worry about AI later. In 2026, that approach is going to cost you. Salesforce has fundamentally reorganized itself around artificial intelligence, specifically around a platform called Agentforce, which allows businesses to deploy autonomous AI agents that handle customer interactions, automate workflows, and make decisions without human intervention. This is not a future feature. Companies are implementing it right now, and they are actively looking for Salesforce professionals who understand how to configure and govern these AI-driven systems. Now, here is what I want you to understand clearly. You do not need to be an AI scientist. You do not need to know machine learning or write AI algorithms. What you need to know, even as a beginner, is how to configure AI agents inside Salesforce, how to write prompt templates that guide AI behavior, and how to set the guardrails that define what an AI agent should and should not do in a business context. These are configuration skills, not coding skills, which means they are absolutely accessible to someone with no tech background. There is also a data component that has become impossible to ignore. Understanding basic data hygiene, what it means to have clean, well-structured data inside Salesforce, how to identify and resolve duplicate records, and how the data model works is now a core requirement for entry-level roles. Again, this is not about being a data scientist. It is about understanding how data flows through the platform well enough to manage it responsibly. The good news is that Salesforce gives you everything you need to learn all of this for free. Let me show you exactly where to start. Here is your complete starting point for learning Salesforce with no prior tech experience and no money spent. Start with my courses on my tutorial rack. I have spent over 10 years building these courses specifically for people who are starting from zero, no tech background, no prior Salesforce experience, nothing. Every course is structured to take you step by step from complete beginner all the way through certification preparation with hands-on practice built into every single lesson. So you are not just watching videos, you are actually building real skills inside a real Salesforce environment. It is the fastest and most structured path I know to go from knowing nothing about Salesforce to being genuinely job ready. The link is in the description below. Go check it out and start today itself. Alongside my tutorial rack, join the Trailblazer community. There are over 1,300 local and interest-based community groups where Salesforce professionals at every level help each other learn, share resources, and yes, hire each other also. This community is one of the most genuinely generous and welcoming communities in all of tech. Show up, participate, and ask questions. The relationships you build here will matter as much as the skills you develop. Be honest with yourself. off about the timeline. The people who succeed in this transition are not the ones who rush it. They are the ones who commit to consistent daily learning over 6 to 12 months, build a real portfolio, connect with the community, and approach this as a long-term career investment rather than a quick win. The entry-level market is very competitive in 2026, but the people who do the work I just described are still getting hired consistently. So can you learn Salesforce with no tech background? Yes, absolutely yes. But the question you should be really asking is not, can I learn it? The question is, can I build a career with it? And the answer to that question is also yes, with one condition. You have to combine the platform skills with the industry knowledge you already have. Build real hands-on experience instead of just collecting certifications. Engage genuinely with the Trailblazer community and start learning the AI skills now rather than later. If you do those 4 things, your non-tech background stops being a liability and becomes one of the most compelling aspects of your professional story. I have watched it happen dozens of times, and I want to watch it happen for you too. If you are ready to stop wondering and start building, I have put together complete structured courses on my website, my tutorial rack, specifically designed to take you from absolute beginner to certification ready with real hands-on practice at every step, not just videos, actual guided projects that build your portfolio as you learn. The link is in the description below. Go check it out. And if you want to have a real one-on-one conversation about your specific background, your industry experience, your goals, your timeline, and build a personalized Salesforce career roadmap together, I also offer career consultations, and I would genuinely love to help you figure out your best path forward. The booking link is also in the description. Go check it out. And thank you very much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.